Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining our March California Brokers Business Accelerator on COVID-19, hosted by our California brokers, Thomas Bullock, Michelle Beeson, and Ryan Rosas. Before we begin with today's important topic, I'd just like to start out by saying that we all hope that your families are well and safe during this time. We are continuing to monitor the current COVID-19 situation. As a virtual brokerage, our team is set up and has been working virtually for years. We will continue to be here to support you and your business through these turbulent times. With that being said, I would now like to pass it over to our brokers. Remember, if you have any questions during this presentation, you can type them in the chat box of your Zoom control panel, and we will do a Q&A during this presentation. I'm going to pass it over to our brokers now, starting with Ryan. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning. Thank you, Tori. And good morning to everybody else as well. I'm really looking forward to being on this call and being a resource for you guys today. I'd like to first and foremost just start by saying we are here for everybody. The whole Allison James family completely understands these are turbulent times, and you guys have an absolute phenomenal, place with us here, and we just want to support everybody as best we can. You'll have a ton of questions. Hopefully today we'll answer all or most of those questions to the best of our ability. But the three of us here on this call today are definitely a resource for you guys moving forward. Michelle?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was reading.
Sorry. Oh, no worries.
Yeah, I agree with Ryan. I was just reading some of the updates on our MLS, what our MLS has implemented effective today, guys. So just to give, just to give a little bit of info before I forget, as far as we're concerned, we can put our listings, if your sellers don't want showings, you can put your listings on hold. We can do that indefinitely for right now. And your days on market will not accumulate. That's your only option, guys. So that's everyone on the call knows who I am. So that's the only thing I have to say in my intro right now.
Yeah, and to tag on to that just a little bit, Michelle, every MLS is a little bit different. I know some of my MLSs up here are working on a technical element of it, meaning they're trying, they have to recode their program to accommodate that, but it is in the works. So if you haven't seen a change in days on market yet, just be prepared that it's coming and they're working on it for you guys.
Yeah, and for clarification with CRMLS, there is no other option. They will not be freezing days on market during this time if your property is active. Super important to note that. So really your only option is hold, and we are going to require you get a modification of terms from the seller, so we have a written instruction to put the property on hold. And as far as the coming soon status, and again, guys, I got to reiterate, this only applies to my people. As far as the coming soon status that is coming down the pike eventually due to the clear cooperation policy, that's probably not going to be in effect till May 1st. So the clear cooperation policy is being implemented as scheduled with CRMLS, and so those options will not be available until May 1st. So right now your only viable option, if your sellers have elected not to show, is to put the property on hold. So get a modification of terms for the written instruction and do that so your days on market aren't accumulating. That's it for me.
Okay, good. Good morning, everyone. Most of you who know me know that I've been doing this a while. And I am here to tell you this is not the end of the real estate world. I can remember back going to the early 80s when interest rates were climbing to 20%, and we survived that. In fact, we came out in a very hot market. Even though the circumstances may be different right now, I firmly believe, based on my experience and my knowledge, that we are in 2020, a very good real estate market. Now is the time when we are faced with limitations in terms of what we're able to perform. Now is the time to shore up our background, our education, our knowledge. Now is the time to reach out to our client list. Keep in touch with them. Call them. You have the time now. You can't go out and view properties. You can't go out and meet face to face with clients. So now is the time to set your schedule, your daily and weekly schedule. So you are reaching out to past clients and to see how they're doing. Let them know what's going on with the real estate market. Let them know that you're there for them. If they need help in any way, even if it's just to call you and brainstorm, and talk, you're there for them. And that's kind of our message here today with Ryan and Michelle and I. We hope to emphasize to you that we're here for you. Give us a call. We are prepared to listen and talk about and strategize with you your business plan going forward for the balance of 2020. Now's the time, and we can still have a very, very good real estate world and market in California. Now's the time to prepare for that good market. So when it hits, you're prepared to act. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Tori and see what questions people would like to have answered.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with the questions as much as possible. We do have a question, Michelle, in regards to what you said, and Ryan, what you said with the coming soon. Michelle is saying that coming soon as of May 1st, is that just for CRMLS, so the Southern California and Temecula area, or does that apply to Northern California?
No, I can only speak to Southern California, the CRMLS specifically. Tom can give information for all the San Diego MLSs, and then Ryan's got NorCal covered. So anything I say particularly about our MLS is CRMLS specifically.
Right, and in regards to the Northern California MLSs, we have several of them up here, and although they do cooperate together in regards to sharing information, they do implement their own policies, and that applies to the Clear Cooperation Policy as well. For the most part, the bulk of them haven't implemented it yet, and I anticipate that this will cause a delay in them implementing it until they absolutely have to do it. But what we need to do is just check with each individual MLS to see what the updated status is. And I'm in the process of getting updates from all the MLSs, but to be honest, the Clear Cooperation Policy isn't something that they're updating us on as frequently unless we reach out to them about it, because they have other things going on.
Yeah, and I just want to add too, I'm sorry, Tom, but I just want to add too that our MLS specifically is doing a great job of giving email updates. So all of my agents should be receiving updates from the MLS. If not, you can always call them and make sure you're put on that list so you are getting your updates. It's imperative, guys, that we keep track right now, that we're not just taking a vacation, that we're keeping on top of our emails and keeping track of the new developments that are happening pretty much on a daily basis.
Right.
Yeah, and Michelle's absolutely correct. I think, I know speaking for the LA, Orange County, and San Diego market, the MLS and the local boards are doing an excellent job of updating and keeping everybody current. If you have a specific question, please reach out to your broker or even call the board yourself and talk to them. They're being very responsive right now. And they're here to help us. So keep that in mind too as you move on from day-to-day activities.
I do have not necessarily a question, but just a statement. I believe this would be Tom's agent. Tom, she had said that we just opened an escrow in Fallbrook, and the buyers are calling me asking if the prices are dropping. It is crazy busy. She is telling her sellers that buyers will want to see the inventory because a lot of homes are on hold on the market. Do you have anything you want to add in regards to this?
We're limited in terms of what activities we can do, obviously. I sent out an email to the San Diego agents and LA and Orange County over the weekend that kind of gave the outline for what the governor's mandate was and what the CAR mandate was as a follow-up to the governor's mandate. All we can do right now is stay on top of the inventory, know what is available, talk to your clients, let them know that even though we're in a holding pattern with regards to open houses and showings, that the market's still good. Interest rates are still good. The lenders are coming through right now with programs that are adapted to the current conditions. Appraisals, rather than doing full-blown appraisals, you're finding appraisers that are willing to do drive-bys and lenders that are willing to accept those type of appraisals. So, you know, there's a, you know, good things are happening in real estate right now, and you're seeing our community, our real estate community, come together so that our process of day-to-day closings for sellers, closings for buyers are happening. And you know, I'm approving files every day of people getting their paperwork up to date, and even closings. I'm seeing a bunch of closing statements come through SkySlope. So, you know, it is activity. We have to be thoughtful in terms of how we approach the business today. We have to be smart. And maybe now is a great time for you to sit back on some of your quiet time and analyze your business practices and strategies and make adjustments. And if you do it like a stop, start, continue type program where you'll stop doing activities that are not working for you. You'll start doing new activities that will hopefully work for you, and continue the strategies and the activities that work for you. So, you know, now's a great time to take an inventory of your own business, talk to your broker, and you know, develop a stronger business. So when the market again turns good this year, and I think we're going to start seeing it at the beginning, you know, towards the latter part of the second quarter, perhaps, maybe even into the third quarter, you're going to be prepared for it. You'll be ready to hit the ground running and make some money this year. That's, you know, that's what all of this is about, strategy.
Yeah, Tom, you're absolutely right. This order from the governor is going to lift. We're not going to be, you know, staying in home forever. And so we all have to look forward to what our business is going to look like in, you know, 2 weeks, a month, 3 months, 6 months from now, when we're really back in the thick of it. So this is a great time for us to take stock of how that business looks and be prepared for the next steps.
Yeah, and if I could add specifically what you want to explain to your clients is that, of course, we don't have a crystal ball. There's no way we can know what the market's going to look like. But the bottom line is there are so many things already in place. You know, right now, interest rates are still great. Even if they're ticking up, they're great. You know, the inventory is low right now, and there are still multiple offers out there. So just encourage your buyers, I mean your sellers, in a positive way. Like, yeah, I know this is a little blip in the screen, but bottom line is everything, when this is over, and it will be soon, I think, you know, there are so many things in place that are going to stimulate the market. Yep. And if anything, we're going to be flooded with people trying to get in before the interest rates go way up. So we've got all of that in our favor. So just try to encourage your sellers in a positive way. And guys, your sellers right now, they need positivity from you. They need enthusiasm from you. They need to know that you are here for them and you're working for them, and that, you know, they just need to stay positive in the outlook, because things don't look dire necessarily.
All right. Before we continue with questions, we are getting flooded with them. I do just want to point out, if you guys have specific questions about your specific listing or your specific transaction, please reach out to your broker directly. I do want to ask more generalized questions that apply to everyone on here. So I just want to point that out before I continue with this. And anyone can take this next question on: if buyers and seller agree, can we allow our listings to be shown and show other listings? And as a follow-up question to that, is there any protocol in place for showing? So gloves, masks, liability, anything like that?
Well, based on the governor's mandate, we can't allow for showings. That has to be a brokerage policy. You know, even though you may find local marketing type mandates that might allow you to do it, per the government's mandate as well as CAR's mandate, we can't allow it. You know, it's dangerous right now.
But there are creative ways around that, right, Tom?
What do you mean?
So I know we've heard some stories about how some listing agents and or buyers are coming together virtually. So they're Skyping together or they're FaceTiming to do virtual walkthroughs through a property, and they're still able to put deals together. So there are clever alternatives to help us still continue the business.
Oh yeah, virtual. Yes, you're correct there. I'm just talking about clients walking through, doing showings. We can't allow clients to walk through one of our listings. It just based on the mandate right now, we have to be mindful of that and be safe.
Okay, perfect. So with that said, it sounds like CAR has not been successful in getting us designated as providers of essential services. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And I can expand on that a little bit. Even there was a broker virtual meeting, obviously, last week, and even they were saying something like that probably isn't going to happen. So we need to not focus on, oh, are we essential? Are we essential? Right now, we need to focus on creative ways of doing business. How are we going to do it? You know, guys, all that stuff that you say, oh, I'll do that later because I don't have time. Well, now you've got time. So sit down and think about all that stuff that you've been putting off that's going to be good for your business, and implement those systems and learn KV Core, guys. You've got so much opportunity to do all of these things that you have been putting off for some people years. So focus on that, guys.
Yeah. Let's see. Someone did ask about virtual showings. That is allowed. Correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And there's all kinds of ways to accomplish it.
Yep. Okay. Another question about this. I know one of our agents up in Tahoe does a lot of business with a large volume of vacant homes. So if there's no other people in the home, can they go into the active listings to FaceTime and video for their buyers?
Well, the CAR mandate says no. So we, as a brokerage, need to advise exactly what CAR and the governor's mandate says, which is you're not really supposed to be leaving your home at all right now, unless it's for essential services like you need to go to the grocery store, the doctor, or anything like that.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, and keep in mind, just to touch base on that a little bit more, keep in mind with this virus, people walking through, even though they may have no symptoms today, doesn't mean they're not positive. So,
never show them.
The shelf life of this virus, as people might walk through a home, even a vacant home, you don't know. So the next, if you allow one, then you're going to allow two, and then that potentially could spread the virus again. So that's why we have to be careful.
Right.
Okay, perfect. And then I do want to get into some of these other questions. Can someone start on talking about that? I don't know if it's an addendum, but the COVID-19 form.
Yeah, so the COVID-19 form we've had a lot of discussion around as brokers, and we've kind of digested it more and more as we go along. So basically, what I want to emphasize to people is it's not a get out of jail free card. I think that it can be misinterpreted by some agents, whether there are agents or others, that this is something that just allows buyers to just unilaterally cancel a contract. And that's not the case. The form does need to be accepted and executed by both parties. And the specific terms that are in there really should be clarified. So as an example, it's our recommendation that if you're representing a seller and your seller's okay with executing this, that we actually issue a counteroffer to say, listen, if you're going to cancel based off of your inability to get a loan now because you lost your job, we would like to see proof that that's the case. So provide proof within X amount of days. Things like that we can add little details to help protect the sellers as well. Michelle or Tom, do you have anything else that you'd like to add to that based off what we talked about?
No, again, agents aren't thinking outside the box. So if you receive this form, you can completely counter any terms that your client's not comfortable. I just want to add, your job is to explain these terms to your client and have them make the decisions. So, as agents, sometimes we tend to say, oh, we're not doing this. We're not the client. It's really the client's decision on how to proceed. Your job is to understand the form backwards and forwards, so you're explaining it to them properly. They understand the pros and cons of moving forward with the terms of the addendum. not a lot of cons if you're representing a buyer, but there's a lot of cons if you're representing a seller. So make sure you understand the form and what it means to your seller. And if you don't, give your broker a call so we can explain it to you.
Okay, perfect. And I'm trying to stay as organized with these questions as possible, but there's quite a few. Is there a reason why some brokers are allowing business as usual versus us? I don't think they'd be allowed to. Is that correct?
Well,
Yeah.
let me answer that one.
Yeah.
You know, and in talking with my agents over the weekend, I understand some of the input you're getting from other agents. I've heard the gamut from, yeah, you can show my property. I haven't heard anything, all the way to, no, you can't show my listing because if I allow it, then my broker's going to fire me. So, we're not going to fire anybody, but it's like every issue, those of you that have worked with us in terms of the brokers with issues and situations, we find brokerages who follow the rules and we find brokerages who do not. What's at jeopardy here? What's at jeopardy is your real estate license and the brokerage real estate license. So it's important that we follow the guidelines of CAR. It's important that we adhere to the rules and regulations of the governor's mandate. And quite frankly, it's the safe and better thing to do for all of us, including our clients. So, are there brokerages out there that say, yeah, you can show my property? Yeah, there probably are. There are probably agents out there statewide, some that are even promoting themselves to show property, or I don't know of anybody doing open houses now, but you never know. Nothing surprises me. So the main thing is we feel that we have to follow both the governor's and CAR's mandate. What will be the penalty for those who don't abide by the rules and regulations? Who knows? CAR hasn't spelled out what their violation policy will be and how it will affect agents as well as brokerage licenses. So we're going to play by the rule of the law, which we normally do. That way we can all go to bed at night and sleep and look ourselves in the mirror knowing that we are doing the right thing for California real estate and for Allison James Estates and Homes and for you and your independent business.
Yeah, you guys all have to think big picture. This is a big picture time. So you can still be working on your business. In fact, you could come out of this so organized and with so many great new ideas that you're going to be more successful in the last quarters than you would have been otherwise. This is not devastating to us. There's ways to continue to do business. You just sit down, you think of all the things you do in person and figure out a way to do it virtually.
Right.
So many apps out there that you can use, FaceTime, Zoom, to do virtual showings. I'm not saying you guys go to your client's house, and I'm sure Tom and Ryan would agree. You don't go there, but we can all get on a call, buyer, seller agent, buyer and seller, and the sellers can walk around the house and show the buyer whatever the buyer wants to see. We can accomplish this, guys. And I know in particular of 3 of my agents that have successfully done this and written offers, and they're still doing business. So again, it's your mindset, guys. Think of overcome. We are creative people or we wouldn't be in this business. So take this time to think of these things and substitutions to continue business as usual and to focus on improving our skill set, adding services. You guys shouldn't be sitting watching Netflix all day and cooking and eating like I am, but you should be sitting down and thinking of ways to improve your business. So at the end of the year, guess what? You're doing better than you would have otherwise.
Good point.
Has CAR put a stop to cold calling during this time at all?
I don't think that I haven't heard anything along those lines unless any of Michelle or Tom have, but I don't think that that's necessarily something that they control anyways. I mean, that's controlled, I think, by like the do not call list and the different regulations that govern that regularly. I don't know that CAR necessarily controls that unless I'm mistaken.
No, I think you're correct on that.
Okay. And sorry to go back to on the form. We're getting towards the end of the question. So just to confirm, the form, the COVID form, you would sign at our listing agreement time via DocuSign. Is that correct? Or did you sign or whatever? No.
Yeah, if it's at a listing agreement or if you're sitting down with the seller, I wouldn't pre-sign this form because it's much more beneficial to the buyer than to the seller. So I would only have this form signed by the seller if it's presented with an offer, you've discussed it and advised on it to the seller, and the seller chooses to sign it with a contract.
I agree. Yeah, you don't want to do it with the listing.
Got it. Okay, so that answers quite a few of the questions. Land listings, all the same rules apply to land listings as well?
The rule generally, what Carr is saying, is no face-to-face meetings with clients.
Mhm.
That's what they're saying. And we're not supposed to be, I mean, the governor is saying we're supposed to be sheltering in place and only allowing, leaving for essentials. So, you have to look at what our orders are and figure things out from there.
Yeah, we're all governed, we all have licenses issued by the state. So essentially, if the state issues us any kind of mandate or regulation, we're all licensees here. Essentially, we all have to follow it.
Perfect. All right, so I think that answers the majority of our questions. Like I had said, I had gotten a few more specific questions about specific transactions or things you guys are handling and dealing with at this time. If you have questions specifically, please contact your broker. I'm going to hand it back to the brokers just for any final thoughts on this. But before I do just want to let you guys know that they're here for you. We're here for you. And like Michelle and Ryan and Tom have all said, there's ways that you can keep yourself busy and keep expanding and growing your real estate knowledge. Allison James provides tons of videos on Allison James University that you can watch at this time while you aren't leaving the house. KV Core training, stuff like that. If you guys need help or need ideas, please contact support at agicorporate.com. I'd be happy to throw some ideas your way if there's something specific that you're wanting to learn about. If you're wanting to go through KV Core training, I can help you with that, and I'd be happy to do that for you. So those are my final thoughts. Brokers, back to you.
Yeah, I'll kick it off.
Go ahead.
Keep in mind, there can be a lot of good for us as agents coming out of this kind of market. Like I said earlier, we've been faced not with this particular issue, but with other similar issues that have negatively affected our market in terms of sales. I'm thinking back to the early 80s when we had interest rates at 20%. Escrows closed back then. Escrows are closing right now. The good things that are coming out of this in terms of the real estate community coming together is you're starting to see appraisers doing what they need to do to help facilitate closings. Lender programs. Touch base with your lender because there are some new programs coming out right now that are geared to this issue in today's real estate world. Also keep in mind, the listing inventory is short. There's a pent-up demand, and I truly believe, and I've been doing this a while, that pent-up demand is growing, so that when we do come out of this, when we do show signs that the coronavirus is going away, or at least be able to get out and function in a better manner, that pent-up demand is going to explode, and you want to make sure you're in position to take full advantage of that. So now is the time, like Michelle said and Ryan, that now is the time to prepare and be ready. Be ready for that. Real estate is hard work. We all know that because we're doing it. But keep in mind, it's a wonderful business, and in a couple of years from now, the coronavirus will be something that we don't even think about anymore, and buyers and sellers don't even think of anymore. And it'll just be a story you might tell your kids or some clients to say, what do you do during the coronavirus? And I would encourage you to be able to respond to that question by saying, that coronavirus really turned my real estate business around. It gave me a chance to take a short breather from activity so I could organize myself, educate myself, and provide more experience for myself so I'm better. I came out of that better prepared to run my business. I came out of that better to take care of my clients, both buyers and sellers. And it turned out to be a very, very big positive for me. So, what I might suggest is when you look at social media, how can I, if you're not doing a lot of social media right now, I was on Facebook this morning and I noticed Jeff Green on his Facebook page did kind of a informational piece that he sent out by way of Facebook to all of his clients on his client list, as well as prospects, as well as the agents on his team. I thought it was an excellent piece, very informative. It was factually correct. And so I would encourage you to go on Jeff's Green Facebook page so that you can just kind of use that as an example, perhaps, for something you might want to start participating in and becoming active in. And, keep in mind one thing, and I've already said this a couple times, but the pent-up demand is growing. And you want to make sure you're in a position to take full advantage of it so that when the market opens up, your business is ready to explode. That's what I have.
Ryan, did you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm happy to, but I just wanted to remind you, Michelle, about you had a topic about evictions that you wanted to touch base on.
Yeah, so I can go ahead and go next, so I'll talk about it. There's a couple things I want to, specifically to my agents. I want you all you should be on social media, you should be providing education, you should be, a positive resource for all of your clients. You should be reaching out to every single one of them, whether past, current, potential, in person, on the phone, because that's the human touch and that'll mean a lot, just to check on them, to be genuine. But what I want to say specifically about the information that you're putting out there, please, please, please be sure that it's correct before you do it. Specifically, we had somebody putting out about moratoriums on evictions. For one thing, we're not property managers. We don't allow it. So we shouldn't be giving advice on evictions, even though I understand it's education. But, stay in your lane, guys. We don't do property management, so we can't really talk to evictions. But the bottom line is the eviction moratorium is not a statewide mandate. Riverside County has not adopted it as of this morning. So there is no eviction moratorium in Riverside County right now. And if you're putting that out there and it turns out to be wrong, you're opening up liability. So I just want to urge you guys, don't put anything out without knowing 100% that it is correct. And if you're not sure, please call me. I think there was one other thing I wanted to talk about. No, I can't think of it now. If I think of it again, let me know. But again, I'll let you guys know. But just stay positive. Be that resource for your people. Work on your business. Learn your systems. Streamline your systems. Figure out creative ways to continue to do business. People are doing it. And you can too. You just need to change your mindset from focusing on the negative and focusing on the, switching it to positive all the time.
Great. Thanks, Michelle. I just wanted to touch base a little bit. I don't think that we touch base on it very much about home inspections and appraisers or their appraisals. Tom mentioned a little bit about how some appraisers are coordinating drive-by appraisals, which is fantastic, and the lenders are accepting those. So that is, in my opinion, a little bit less of an issue as opposed to the home inspections. Now, home inspectors are third-party providers, so it's not us, it's not the buyer's agent, although obviously our AVIDs are part of those inspections as well. But in regards to third-party providers, they're not supposed to be out there doing that. Are some of them doing it? Probably. They're probably taking advantage of the business while they can. So again, our mandate is for us to, stay at home and not be involved. If there are creative ways to get home inspections done, that, an inspector could, accurately inspect a home and provide a report, perhaps go down that road. What I would caution around that is, make sure that it is, especially if you're representing a buyer, make sure that it's a genuine inspection. that your buyers, buyer beware, right? They want to make sure that they're seeing everything, that it's not a quote unquote drive-by inspection. They want to be able to buy a home and know what they're buying. And if for some reason we can't get inspectors out there, which is likely going to be the case, feel free to write into a contract or a counteroffer that it's subject to an inspection, which, the inspection contingency can be delayed up to X amount of days to allow for inspectors to not only get out past the mandate, but also once the mandate is lifted, they're probably going to be swamped with business, I can imagine. And so they may not be able to get out in a timely manner. So just something along those lines to keep in mind. What I'll say to all of my agents is I hope that we answered all of your questions or many of your questions, but there are probably more questions that are out there. So what I would encourage all of my agents to do is to shoot me an email if you have any additional questions that we didn't touch base on, or if you'd like more clarification. And what I'll do is I'll gather all of those questions together and I'll put together one big response for everybody, and I'll shoot it out as an email and I'll post it to the Facebook groups. And that way you guys can have it together as a resource as well. So feel free to email me. I'm sure my email is going to go crazy over this, but I'm here for you and happy to support it as well.
Oh, guys, I did want to add, for those of you who need current updates, if you don't already know, CAR has a dedicated page that does nothing but coronavirus updates. That website is www.carcovidupdates.com. So carcovidupdates.com. So if you guys need to get updates, please check the CAR website regularly just to figure out what's going on.
Perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. Well, like I had mentioned, Lisa Myers, thank you for posting that link in there for all of our attendees. Lisa did just post that car.covidupdates.com link in there. So go ahead and click on that and it'll open in your browser. So thanks for that, Lisa. Just again, thank you everyone for joining us. I know we had changed the topic, but we all felt this was an important subject to touch on. I know some of you did come in late to the webinar as well. We do have this recorded, so what we will do is we are going to be sending this out to all California agents via email, so you guys will all get the recorded version within 48 hours. If you have any questions though, like your brokers had said, please reach out to them. Please reach out to us here at support at corporate as well. We're all happy to answer your questions, but during this time, just stay positive and we will get through this. So thanks everyone for joining us on this month's California Brokers Business Accelerator. And of course, thank you to all of our brokers for all of your wonderful insight and for putting together today's topic and presentation. Thanks again to everyone for joining us. We hope you all stay safe and have a wonderful week. Bye everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.